Hi guys, it's Amanda with Elevated Resumes. I wanted to do this video because virtual networking is becoming more and more important as we see, especially nowadays. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone is comfortable using LinkedIn, knows how to use it, and also has a LinkedIn and knows how to build it if you don't have one yet. So this video is for people who are just new to LinkedIn and just creating one, but also people that have had it for a while but maybe aren't sure of the kind of content that you need to have on there or how to use it most effectively. So I went ahead and created a fake profile. So it's just my first name and last initial. I put in a job title at Made Up Company, and I just did this to show you how to go about building out your profile, whether you're using it for the first time or expanding on what you already have. So the first thing I want to touch on is the headline. So when recruiters are searching for candidates on LinkedIn, they'll see a list of search results that meet their criteria, and they'll see your name and your headline. And so if they see a whole bunch of the same headline, so if they see business development manager at such and such company over and over and over again, it can tend to get repetitive, and it's really hard to stand out in search results when your headline is the same as everyone else's. This is typically the headline that LinkedIn generates for you. So I didn't actually type this headline in, it just pulled it from my current job title and company name. So what I would recommend doing is updating that to make sure that you're adding something unique about yourself, whether it's how you work, how you're able to achieve success, your value, whatever it is that you think is important to you in your role. I would add something like that to the end of your title. So let's go ahead and do that. So I am at this section. I also just want to note before we get to that, on your LinkedIn profile, I want to make sure you have a photo. I'm not using one on this profile since it's a fake profile, but it's really easy just to get a plain background and take a headshot from here up. If you have portrait mode, I would use that, and it takes really nice photos for your LinkedIn. So I just wanted to make note of that, so you make sure that you also have a photo. Okay, so to update our headline, we're going to click this little pencil icon here. And you're going to see the LinkedIn generated headline, Business Development Manager at ABC Company. So we're going to get rid of this last part. Okay, we're going to put a little separation here. And I already have one created, so I'm going to bring that in. And I'm going to put in creating connections that drive business and technology forward. So we're going to assume that this business development manager maybe is in the tech industry. All right, so this person, this profile, they're relaying that their core value is creating connections, right? And not just creating any connections, but connections that drive business and technology forward. So if you see a list of people and they all have business development manager at such and such company, and then you see this headline, business development manager, creating connections that drive business and technology forward. It just shows that you put a little bit more thought into your headline and might make the person that's looking at it more interested in clicking on your profile and reading a little bit more about you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. I also want to note that down here is where you can add in your email address. I wouldn't recommend adding any of this other stuff, but your email address. You can add your phone number if you want to, especially if you're in sales. A lot of people add that in, add their work number in. But at least give them an email address, and you can also create a separate email address so you're not handing out your work or personal email address, so that you know if people are reaching out to this specific email address, they came from networking or LinkedIn. So let's save that. And you can see the new headline here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a summary section. Your summary section is probably the most important part of your profile when someone goes to read it. So when they go to your profile, they typically go down to your summary section and give that a skim to see if they want to keep reading and look at your experience. So if you don't already have a summary section on your profile, you're going to go here to add profile section. You're going to hit about and add this summary section in. So again, I already have a summary section that I'm going to pull in here. and then we'll walk through it. Okay, so the summary section that I put together, the first thing you want to do is clearly state what it is that you do, how much experience you have, and something that would be helpful for the reader. So you are a leader in business development and sales. You have 15 years of experience. And what would be helpful is that you are used to developing C-level relationships that drive business growth and performance. So that gives them something specific and tangible as to how you're able to achieve success. The next sentence can be something that's attention grabbing, ideally, if you have that. If you have quantifiable metrics that you can include, this is where I would include that overarching achievement or something that you're most proud of. The summary section is really for things that you're proud of, that you would bring up in an interview, that you want the reader to know right off the bat to make an impression. So for this example, I have throughout my career, I've identified and captured numerous large-scale partnerships, leading to over 200 million in revenue and extensive market expansion. Okay, so that's throughout my career, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be within your last position, but overall what you've been able to achieve and how it affects the reader. So if they're looking for someone who can drive revenue, you're the person. The next bit, these are all things that you're proud of, right? They're achievements and things that you want the reader to know. So we go then into a little bit more specifics about your current role. So in your current role, you manage a $50 million book of business and have successfully increased revenue by 20% year over year. Okay, so again, giving them tangible, concrete examples of how you've been able to achieve success. If you're not in sales or business development, you don't have quantifiable metrics, make sure you're just using things that you're proud of. Have you been able to streamline processes? Have you been able to improve employee engagement or retention? What are the things that you're proud of throughout your career? Then I closed 10 million in net new business this year alone. Okay, so again, getting a little bit more specific after that first overarching paragraph. The next one is I'm a sought-after expert in the technology industry and have contributed to several industry publications. So again, I'm assuming this would be something that you'd be really proud of and want to show off. And then in the last little section, I like to include something that has helped you to achieve the success that you've achieved. So if you were to think about your value and what's been most helpful to you in your career, that's what you want to convey at the end here. So your ability to simplify complex technology and communicate value to the end consumer gives you a unique advantage. Okay, so that's your value statement. And then especially if you're in sales, this is really important. Or if you're in any kind of client-facing role, your clients may go to LinkedIn to find you. So you may not just be using it to find jobs. You may be using it to connect and stay in touch with clients or secure new clients. So by saying a little piece about how you are able to help clients is really important too. So the last piece I had here is I'm driven by making my clients' lives easier through automation and innovative technology. So if a client is looking at your profile, they kind of want to see how this content applies to them as well. So you're kind of targeting two different readers, especially when you're in a client-facing role. I also included right here, if you want to add, if you want to make it really easy for people to connect with you, ask them to follow you on LinkedIn, but then also you can provide your email address here. And again, you can use that email address that you created that's specific for networking or LinkedIn purposes. Okay, so I'm going to save that. All right, we reached a new level. Okay, so then you're going to go down and this is what you're going to see. And this is what the reader is going to see as well. So they'll hit this little see more button and skim through this. And this is what they're going to take to say, okay, I want to learn more about this person's experience. All right, so then they're going to scroll down and get to your experience section. So I just made up some dates and again, a job here. So in order to update this and add content, you're going to click this little pencil icon. We're going to go down to the description. I have a description here ready to go, so I'm going to pull that in. Okay, and so what you want to do here is you want to start off with some of the most important information. You want to make sure that when someone's skimming through your profile, they can easily read through and pick out the key parts, because attention spans are very limited, especially in a digital space. So you want to make this section really concise so that they can get through it and keep reading instead of clicking on someone else's profile or going off of your page. So here we have kind of an overview of what you've been able to do in your current role and how you do it. So you've been able to secure 10 new partnerships and deliver 10 million in sales this year alone, and you do it by working closely with C-suite executives to find agreements and negotiate contracts, right? And then you can have your overarching, really short, concise metrics here. So throughout your entire position, you've been able to increase sales 20% year over year. You've secured over 20 partnerships, and you've delivered an average of 120 against your quota. Okay, so these are some of the things that you want to include here. Again, if you have things like you've been able to cut costs, if you've been able to negotiate with vendors successfully, whatever it might be that you're proud of, that you think would be the most important information to get in front of a recruiter or a hiring manager, this is the information you want to include here. And again, try to keep it to really short, concise bullet points so that they can get through all of the information. So you kind of start off with that overview and then some bullet points, and then hopefully they'll keep scrolling and getting to your other positions as well. You can also add links or documents here if you're in a creative type of role, or if you're in marketing and you have links to some of the projects that you've worked on, you can add that here just for additional information. We're going to save that. And here's your experience section. So you're going to do all of that with every position that you've had, especially within the last 10 years. So you want to make sure that all the positions you've had within the last 10 years have this information. Going back prior to that, you can just list the company name, job titles, and dates to show your progression, but you don't necessarily have to worry too much about the content. I would still try to list something, but make sure at least the positions you've held within the last 10 years are displayed this way. Okay, and then you're going to get down to your skills and endorsements section. I actually had to add this section in, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You're just going to go to Add Profile section, Skills, and you're going to add this. Okay, I've already done that for this profile. So you're going to get to your skills and endorsements section. Now, this piece is important because it's going to help LinkedIn rank you based on your skills. So if a recruiter is looking for someone with business development as a skill, they're going to notice that you have this skill on your profile. If you have a whole bunch of endorsements, or if your connections have agreed and said yes, you have this skill, you'll likely rank higher than someone else who doesn't have any endorsements. So that's why this piece is important, especially when you're job searching. Okay, so I added a few here, but you can always add a new skill. Okay, so it gives you some suggestions, and then you can also type in your own skills. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some suggestions in here. Hit add, and it's going to list those out. You can add up to 50 skills. In order to get new endorsements, my biggest recommendation is just to go and endorse your connections. If you know someone else has a skill in leadership or coaching or whatever it might be, go and endorse them, and then they'll see that you've done so and want to return the favor. One other thing I want to note is that these top 3 skills are the only skills that show up if someone PDFs your profile. So if a recruiter is looking at your profile, or a hiring manager, or whoever it might be, and they want to take a PDF of your profile to keep on hand, these 3 skills will be the only ones that show up on that PDF. So you might want to switch those out depending on what 3 skills you feel like are the most important. Okay, so you can do so by unpinning them and then pinning a different one. Okay, save that. And now those 3 skills will be the ones that are listed on that PDF. Okay, so when we're talking about content, those are really the most important pieces. There's a couple other things I want to make sure that we do as well. For starters, we want to edit your public profile URL. You can do that by scrolling up to the top and hitting this button on the top right, Edit Public Profile and URL. It's going to take you to the separate page. And what that's going to do is you'll, at the top right of that separate page, when you click on that, you'll see your public profile URL. There will be a little pencil icon right next to that. And instead of the LinkedIn generated URL, which will probably have your name and a whole bunch of letters and numbers, you want to just use your first name and last name. If that's taken, you can use your first name, middle initial, and last name, or your first and last name with just a couple numbers. As you can see, I've changed the one right here to Amanda T123. So that's the URL that you can then use in your signature block, in your email, on your resume, and any other place that you want to use a URL. So instead of using that really long LinkedIn generated one, it's easy to remember. People can find you easily. Okay, let's go to the search bar. In order to find people that you want to connect with, the easiest thing to do is to start with your immediate network and then work out from there. So think about the people that you have in your close circle and then see who they're connected with. You'll find that you forgot about people. You find people that you haven't spoken with in 2 years that you want to reach out to. So start with your immediate circle, see who they're connected with, and then start branching out from there. But if you want to find specific people, or if you want to start making connections that maybe you haven't met before, you're going to use this search feature. Okay, this profile, we're saying this person is in business development, so maybe we'll type in business development. Okay, we're going to get a whole bunch of results for business development managers. It's going to go to jobs. Okay, but maybe we want to look for people in business development. Okay, so we click on that little people button, and then we find a whole list of people on LinkedIn that are in business development. And this is where you can see those headlines that I was talking about, right? So business development manager, business development. This is where you can stand out in search results. So your header will be more descriptive, more informative than ones that just say business development. Okay, you can search by location. We're going to say if this person is in Boston, we're going to go Greater Boston area, apply, and then it'll show business development people in Boston. You can also click on all filters, and there will be a ton of options. So this is really helpful when you want to get really specific about who you're searching for. So say you have a company target. You really want to work for a company, or maybe you have 2 or 3 on your radar. You can find people within business development or within recruiting for those companies. So you can search their job title within the company that you're looking for, and find really targeted people that you might otherwise not be able to find or connect with. So you want to use this to your advantage when you're applying for jobs, and you want to find someone internal who might be able to help you get a foot in the door, or if you have specific companies in mind that you know you want to work for, you want to start making those connections now so that when jobs become available that you're a good fit for, they'll reach out to you. You've already established the connections. So you definitely want to use this search feature to start broadening your connections and your network so that you have more people to reach out to when you're ready to start a job search, or start reaching out to those people now if you're in a job search. Once you've built up your network, the most important thing from there is to engage with your connections. Okay, so we're going to click this little icon button at the top, and it's going to take you back to the home page. This is where you're going to see all the updates from the people that you are connected with. Also, if you are a member of groups on LinkedIn, this is where those updates will go. So the most important thing here is that when one of your connections posts something, you can like it, you can comment on it, but make sure you're engaging every single day on LinkedIn. After that, the most important thing is to start posting on your own. So it's really easy to create a post. You just hit this little button right here, and you can ask a question, pose a question to your connections. You can share something that you found helpful. You can share an article that someone else wrote, or you can write your own articles on LinkedIn if you have a lot of information to share. It doesn't have to be long posts, but it does help to start having people engage with your content. So as you start doing this more often, you'll see more and more people are finding you and engaging with you on LinkedIn. Let's go back to our profile here. I also wanted to talk about your dashboard. So your dashboard is only visible to you, and it shows you how many people have viewed your profile, how many people have seen your posts or articles, and how many times you've shown up in search results. So for example, if someone's out there searching for business development managers in Boston, are you showing up in those search results? If not, you want to go back and you want to make sure you're being active. You want to make sure you have all your keywords there. So you can kind of use this to rate how your profile is doing. If people aren't viewing your profile and you're not appearing in any search results, it might be time to go back and do an analysis of your profile to make sure you have all the relevant information on there. Hopefully, once you start engaging, you start becoming more active on LinkedIn, and you have all the right content there, you should start appearing in more and more search results, and more people should be viewing your profile. So it's a good way to keep track of that. All right, other than that, I think the most important parts of this is just to make sure that you have all the right content, you have the keywords, you have your skills up to date. As you learn a new skill, make sure you're adding to your skills list. If you become certified, make sure you're adding those certifications on LinkedIn. Make sure you're updating your network, keeping in touch with people, and expanding your network as much as possible. I hope this video has been helpful. Feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can follow Elevated Resumes on LinkedIn. You can find our website at elevatedresumes.com. And you can always reach out to me directly at amanda@elevatedresumes.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions or help you in this process to get your profile updated. So reach out, stay in touch, and let us know how it goes. Thanks for watching.